Hi, and welcome to Being Mindful. I'm Susan, and I am here to guide you in some meditation. Today, what we're doing is focusing on the breath in lots of different ways. We're focusing on it mindfully through just noticing what's happening, and then also using the breath to change the way our bodies are experiencing what's happening in our lives. So we can either observe the breath or actually manipulate the breath. And either way, we notice the impact that has on our bodies. So let's get started. What I like to do is to actually start meditations with a little bit of movement, because what that does is to almost serve as a little bit of a reward for meditating because it feels good. So as we kind of come into a meditative posture, which is something that allows you to be upright, but not like overly relaxed or overly rigid. It's helpful to have both feet on the floor. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, I'll invite you to do that because it does help to kind of reduce the visual stimulation that you receive through your eyes. But if you'd rather have your eyes open, you can just find a spot to focus at lightly on the floor in front of you. So I like to begin by just having you use your physical senses to become present to the space that you occupy. You can use your ears to notice sounds. You can notice where your body is in contact with the chair or the floor or whatever it is that is supporting you. And then we'll come inward and pay attention to the breath. And again, we use our senses to experience the act of breathing. You can notice the temperature of the breath as it enters and exits the body. And a lot of times the air is not the same temperature as our bodies, and so we can notice that difference as we breathe. We don't need to breathe in any special way at this point. Right? Breath was already happening before we started paying attention to it. And so we just allow that breath to continue flowing in and out. And we notice how that feels in the body. We can notice the movement of the body in response to the breath. Thoughts come and go. And perhaps there's a bit of a struggle that we are living in anxious times. And our minds are trying to prepare us for what is to come. And although that may not feel like a good thing to have these racing thoughts when we're trying to sit here and focus on our breath, but our minds are just trying to protect us. They're trying to be helpful. And there are things we can do with our breath to reduce the physical reaction that happens when we feel stressed, threatened, or anxious. These days, our bodies can be on high alert. And our minds as well. And when we experience a threat, the older parts of our brain spring into action. The fight or flight parts of our brains come online to try to protect us. But these days, a lot of our threats are not real or physical or immediate. But our brains still do that thing that tries to protect us. And it makes it very difficult in that moment to think rationally. So when this back part of the brain, the amygdala, has taken over, the prefrontal cortex is just not functioning. So we can use our breath to interrupt that fight or flight instinct and kind of almost like reboot the brain so that the prefrontal cortex can come online and we can make intentional decisions about how we want to be and behave. So one breath strategy that we can practice together is one that involves taking a deep breath for 4 counts, holding the breath for 4 counts, and then exhaling more slowly for 8 counts. So I'll let you practice that. As you continue to practice, I'll encourage you to inhale deeply through the nostrils. Use that holding time. And then when you exhale, to exhale through the lips and to audibly blow out the breath. Now allow the breath to go back to its normal pace and rhythm. And notice how the body feels. Notice whether there's any area of tension. And if there is, that's okay. We can pay attention to it with compassion. If we have the ability to allow the muscles to go a little bit limp, sort of allow gravity to pull down. Another technique we can explore together is called left nostril breathing. And I don't know why, but apparently breathing through or holding, what is it? Let's see, we hold down the right nostril and just breathe through the left nostril. You can continue to do that. And for some reason, this also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to de-escalate the actions of the amygdala and helps that prefrontal cortex to function. And you can choose how you want to hold the right nostril down. And then going back to a normal pace of breathing, noticing once again what there is to experience in the body. And one final strategy that I'll offer is that the breath in itself can teach us to relax, right? So when we inhale, there are aspects of our body that tighten up, right? The lungs expand, the abdomen expands. A lot of times our shoulders will rise. So there's this tension that happens when we breathe in. And then when we breathe out, it requires relaxation, right? So the lungs come back to neutral. The abdomen comes back to neutral. If the shoulders were raised, they come back. So for a few moments, breathing deeply or breathing normally, notice the slight tension that happens with the in-breath and the relaxation that must happen for the breath to be released. And use that natural relaxation that's happening through the breath to enhance the relaxation that you feel in the rest of your body. So when we say that we're breathing into a particular area, in a sense, we're allowing that exhale to bring relaxation to any place that feels tension. And as we approach the end of this time, this meditation, I'll invite you to wiggle your fingers and toes, move your body in whatever way would feel good. If your eyes have been closed, you can open them. And maybe one final deep cleansing breath. Thanks for joining me today. And I hope that exploration of breath and how we can work with our breathing was helpful to you. I'd love to hear what your experience was in the comments. And if it was helpful, if you learned something new or experienced something wonderful, give us a thumbs up. That would be really helpful. And if you're not already subscribed, I hope that you will consider doing that so you can be part of future meditations and become part of the community. Thanks so much and have a wonderful day.